I don't even know how to start it. Boy, you gotta control yourself, boy.
Oh, I can't help but to tap. Give me one of them things you beat together. Ding.
Oh yeah, that would be. I bet everybody would love to hear that. Bo, look how loud I am.
Look how loud I am, Bo.
Alright, whatever.
Alright, whatever.
Okay. We'll start fresh. We'll start. Cue the intro or whatever. And then that's when it's gonna go. Right there. I'm gonna edit it in. What's up, everybody? What's going on? I feel like one of those people I watch on YouTube. Another week, another episode. So exciting. Can't wait to entertain you. We got a riveting show for you this week here. Oh, Kaylee says she struggled to find a joke of the week, so I ain't gonna hype it up as much as I did last week. You'll just see if you, actually, everybody literally said that they thoroughly enjoyed it. There were even comments on there. Leave my girl alone. It was funny, So apparently people like it. Sorry. I don't mean to upset anybody. It didn't tickle my funny bone there. This week, yeah, it might. Who knows? We'll have to see. But you know the drill. You know the standards here. Topics. Joke of the week. Theological question. So, we'll jump into it with the first one. How about you start? Yeah, you go ahead.
Recall hand sanitizer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So, there's been a recall on hand sanitizer, like you just said. The brand is called Aruba Aloe Hand Sanitizer Gel Alcohol 80%. It's a long-winded name. And then also Aruba. Aruba is the brand. Aruba Aloe Alcoholada Gel. Alcoholada? I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Alcoholada Gel. A whole lot of gel.
A whole lot of alcohol.
Yeah. They're being recalled because they contained alcohol denatured with methanol. Okay, here's the problem. All right. The FDA, everybody's favorite people, along with the CDC, the Food and Drug Administration has stated that substantial methanol exposure can cause nausea, vomiting, headache, blurred vision, coma, seizures, permanent blindness, as well as permanent damage to the central nervous system. Oh, and you could die from it. It could cause death. So, it's not good. It's not a good thing. Probably shouldn't use it. So if you have it, throw it out. To be honest with you. During the pandemic, the golden years, as they called it, the FDA made a list of 600 potentially dangerous hand sanitizers. 600 hand sanitizers. After discovering that the rise in numbers of hand sanitizers containing methanol, rather than the approved, what is that? Ethyl?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's ethyl, right?
I think it's...
Well, I can tell you right now. Should I have done this ahead of time? Probably.
Ain't it ethyl?
Ethel? You mean like the old lady name? Come over here and get you some ethyl. Says ethanol. Ethyl, ethanol, whatever. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay? It's supposed to be that kind of alcohol. Methanol is commonly used in industrial settings and is not safe on the skin. And it's also dangerous if, you ingest it I mean, you shouldn't ingest hand sanitizer anyway, but hear me out. All people using the products on their hands are at risk, especially young people, like young kids who could accidentally swallow it, or adolescents who drank it as opposed to drinking ethanol alcohol. They substitute it for methanol, which, could cause methanol poisoning. Aruba Aloe Balm NV, that's the brand, has not received any reports of adverse effects related to these products, but the hand sanitizer in question was distributed between May 1st, 2021 and October 7th, 2023. It's a long time for that to be out there and for nobody to realize it. It was sold in the U.S. online through their website. The company has notified customers who have been impacted by the recall, and they're offering them a discount coupon for their next purchase. Because, hey, we gave you something that probably could poison you and cause you to die, but, here's $3 off of your next hand sanitizer. So, if you got it, okay, Aruba, that's the brand, hand sanitizer gel, alcohol 80%, and Aruba Alcoholata gel, throw it away. Get your coupon for your free, probably not free, they'll probably take off like 50 cents of inexpensive hand sanitizer that you probably don't even need. Yeah.
Throw it away unless you want to experiment on it.
Did you just try to touch my screen? It's not a touch screen, but...
Unless you want to experiment.
What do you mean experiment?
See if it does give you headaches. They need to check on Biden and see if that's what he's thinking.
Bro, it could also kill you.
You should see Biden might be, that's what he's thinking.
Permanent damage to the central nervous system?
Coma, blindness.
He might have ate it.
Blurred vision.
He might have ate it. It might have caused his brain to rot there a little bit.
That might be what's wrong with a lot of people around here today. Walking around like they're blind. Comas.
I just think it's a sign of the times, to be honest with you. But, don't eat hand sanitizer for one, anyway. It's probably not good for you. And two, just throw it away. If you have it, just get rid of it. You probably shouldn't be using it anyway. Don't listen to Dad and experiment on yourself. So,
Then you'd be like, man, I can't see nothing.
I don't know if it works or not. How can it cause blindness if you have it on your hands? I mean, unless you're like touching all over your face.
They might be rubbing in their eyes.
Well, you got to be really stupid.
Misdiagnosing it.
Who? What?
People,
Who rubs hand sanitizer in their eyes?
World we live in today.
Somebody who saw something they didn't want to see.
That might be a TikTok video. Rub their hands.
Well, they used to swallow condoms and they used to snort them up and pull them out of their mouth. So, a TikTok eye challenge. How long can you hold your eyes open with hand sanitizer in there? You know what? That probably is a thing. Who knows? The next story, okay, is called Cicada-geddon. Here's why. All right, prepare yourselves, people, for the cicada apocalypse. Not really, but it's gonna be bad. So this May, right? It's April, so next month. 2 groups of what they call periodical cicadas. That would be the ones that emerge every 13 years and the ones that emerge every 17 years. They will pop out of the ground at the same time. Periodical cicadas live underground. They live in soil. Once the soil reaches about 64 degrees, they kind of start popping themselves up and doing what they do. Okay. The 13-year and the 17-year cicadas will arrive in numbers that have never been seen before. And they're making an appearance together for the first time since 1803. Oh, that's when he was a little kid. You got to think about how long ago that was.
What? 1803.
1803. And the next time they come out...
My granddaddy wasn't...
Oh, sorry. And the next time they come out together will be in 2037, which is like from 1803 to 2024, and then from 2024 to 2037 is not that long. Also, if you're following up with the math here, the math's not mathing. But I just got this report from somewhere else. So, I don't know.
You said every 17 years?
This one is every 13 years, and that one's every 17 years. They're two different groups.
Every glad they ain't like the Jeepers Creepers. What is it?
Every
23 years it gets to come out and eat. You better be glad they don't come out and eat people.
Well, I can tell you one thing. If it was like that, we'd all have a big problem here, because the cicadas are gonna mate. You know, they're gonna get their thing on. They're gonna molt, which means they're gonna wiggle out of their. Yeah, you've seen little cicada carcasses hanging around, the little shell that's left behind. Then they'll die, and then they'll leave behind all their children, along with their little shells. You know, the things you pick off the tree and you eat, and they're real crunchy. And then their kids also don't eat cicada shells. I'm just joking, people. Please, somebody's gonna come for us and sue us. And he told us our kids can eat them.
I didn't.
Don't do it. All right. After they die, the kids are gonna go back underground and they're gonna chill out for another 13 and 17 years. It's really weird, for one. And then they'll come out again and repeat the process. A cicada expert, that's right, an expert in cicadas, is calling it Cicadageddon. Bam, roll credits. That's why the title of this story is Cicadageddon. It won't be the biggest event in cicada kind. That's what they said. These people are nerds. In 2076, right, I'll be 77. How old will you be? You're exactly 25 years older than I am. So, in 2076, the two largest broods, that's what they call them, the groups, broods, will be together, all right? The broods will number, think about this, people, in the hundreds of trillions or quadrillions. That's an average of 1 million cicadas per acre, over 1 million acres. You see how much that is? That's a lot, dude. That's like breathing in and sucking in a bug, like multiple bugs every time you breathe in. Some of the cicadas, this is the new ones. This is back to the cicadas that are coming out this May. Some of the cicadas might have a fungal pathogen called, you ready for this? Massospora cicadina, which makes them hypersexual. That's right, it's a fungus that makes these cicadas super sexual, throwing on that berry white and doing what cicadas do. But here's the thing, it's sexually transmitted, which a sexual fungus that's sexually transmitted that makes you hypersexual, the design of that is crazy. It turns cicadas into like zombie cicadas, they said. You know, these cicada experts again. It makes them chalky. They have white plugs sticking out of their bodies. It makes their genitals fall off. This is like the worst. This is the worst fungus ever. Cicada expert, that's right, expert, Matthew Kaysen says it's not clear how the fungus will affect other wildlife animals and even people. Now, dude, biblical prophecies are crazy, okay?
The zombie apocalypse is gonna happen.
Biblical prophecies are crazy, but I ain't never heard of a biblical prophecy where a fungus makes your genitals and stuff fall off and turns you all chalk white. I don't want no part of that. I hope it's not contagious for us, because if it is, I'm staying inside. I ain't going outside. Period. Not even go to work. The cicadas will affect these places. I'm going to name them. Okay? Illinois, Iowa, Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, and Virginia. South Carolina is going to be like more on the higher side of South Carolina. But these things fly. So if you're chilling down here and all of a sudden you just get swarmed by chalky cicadas with fungi hanging off of them and they start getting on you and
Don't eat them.
don't eat them. Also, like, run away, because the last thing you want is to be on the news for the first person to contract this fungus, and then, well, you know what comes after that. So,
Be like,
no, yeah, it's great. It's funny.
it's funny until it happens to human beings.
What? It's funny if it happens to people?
No, until it happens.
Oh, yeah, it is funny until... Hey, you know why Bob didn't come into work? Dude.
He got that fungus.
His privates fell off, man. He's in the hospital. He's got that fungi. Yeah. No, it's not.
He got that fungus.
I mean, some people do got fungus, but it's not this kind. It's just a different kind.
Yeah.
You don't want this one. Look, all we're saying is...
But they...
Don't eat them, okay? Again...
They're not alive, right? When they get this fungus.
Yes.
They just think they're alive.
No, they are.
The fungus is what keeps them alive, I believe. It functions for... I think that's what's happening.
Kind of. Well, the fungus can only live if the cicada is alive, but it takes over the cicada. So the cicada is alive, but at a certain point it takes over
So
them
it
completely.
takes hyper,
Yeah.
but the generals fall off.
That means they...
So how they they fall off after or before?
Well, after.
Before the intercourse.
What kind of fungus would make cicada genitals fall off and then try to be sexually active?
That's being proved.
Yeah, but how would the fungus spread?
Like,
It's a sexually transmitted fungus.
How can I do anything?
It revolves.
My general.
No, it spreads, and then after a while, their things start falling off. I'm pretty sure it's the dudes who start losing their stuff. I don't know, but again, don't eat them. All right, just
And don't have sex with them.
yeah, don't. For one, everything about that is crazy, and two, if you can figure out a way, you've already gone too far. So just take a step back and come back to reality, people. All right. Leaving the genital falling off fungi in cicada apocalypse here. This story is a little, I don't know. It's just one of those toss-up stories, you know what I'm saying? So there's a library. And I didn't write the name of the library down because it's a library and like who really goes to libraries anymore. But after 105 years, a library book has been returned. Okay. So an unnamed woman, all right, see what I mean by a toss-up story? It's not a whole lot going on. Said that her brother found a book in her mom's possessions after her mom had passed. And this was in Kansas. And the book was titled Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott. Just a little background on the book here. It's a classical historical romance set in the 12th century. Trying to win the hand of a beautiful wench, a beautiful woman, as they would say.
What?
A wench.
Witch.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I actually did write the name of the library down. Just kidding. The book was due back at Fort Collins Public Library and Free Reading Room. It's a long name. It was due back February 13th of 1919. All right. Again, when he was a small lad. And inside the front cover are the lending rules. Now, let me break this down for you. Okay. The charging rate in 1919 for a late fee was 2 cents per day. And if somebody had to be sent to you to tell you it was late, it was an extra 25 cents. Alright? That would cost, in today, with those rates, Yeah, $760. But of course, if you adjust for inflation, these people owe the library $14,000. And all they did was try to return the book and be good citizens. And look what that got them, a $14,000 fine. But here's the good news. The library stopped charging late fees in 2020. Imagine they found the book and they were just like chilling. And then they found out that, oh, they don't do late fees anymore, so maybe I can go return it. But yeah, that saved them from a $14,000.
They couldn't charge it anyway. They couldn't prove that was the people that family that got it. They just found it.
Well, didn't they write stuff on book notes back then? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's a really old name? Jebediah Smith took this book in 1919.
For this book. This might make this book popular. People might want to check this book out all the time now. Wonder why they hid it for 105 years.
Well, I don't know if they hid it, but I actually tried.
They probably read this thing. I ain't taking this thing back.
Well, I tried to look the book up, and it's not for me. For one, it's a romance. I'm more of an action guy. Two, it's a book. I only read books about like educational things. And three,
it's one of those books that comes out every 105 years.
Well, now that would be an interesting book. If you can only read a book every 105 years for like a certain amount of time, that'd be kind of crazy. But yeah, book's not for me. If you want to read it, like I said, Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott. Sir Walter Scott. Okay? Get that right. Put some respect on this man. Yeah. They don't got to pay $14,000. It's all good. It's all good. The library got, technically kind of like a one-of-a-kind book back. So, good story for everybody, you know. Yeah. Speaking of good, you like that transition? Going into everybody's favorite segment of this show, the joke of the week. Yes, that's right. Last week, I thought it blew. Apparently not. Apparently, everybody but me loved it. So, in the spirit of trying to be more open-minded, set my standards down just a little bit. Gonna bring Kaylee out here to do her amazing job, according to you guys. You know, a true Jerry Seinfeld of our times. Gonna bring her out here to do her joke of the week and see how she does. Okay, 1 second. What do you say? The joke of the week coming at you. Here's Kaylee, everybody. Insert applause. I'll do it in editing. Don't worry about it. So, you got something?
Yes, I got
something.
I know I told them that you had all week to do it, and she waited to the last possible minute. But, according to everybody on Facebook, you're a real Eddie Murphy of this generation, dude. I mean, like, you're comical genius here. So, everybody prepare yourselves. Prepare your larynxes for
I'm just gonna get it over with. I'm done with y'all being mean to me.
No.
Yeah.
They love you.
They're so mean.
Him.
No.
Don't lie.
What I say.
No, I'm not mean. Constructive criticism.
See, the thing is that my sense of humor is different than most. Okay? The littlest things amuse me.
All right. So, you wanna take it away?
Yeah, sure.
You want the mic?
I don't care.
Give you the mic.
You can hear me loud and clear.
Mic checker. All right. Go ahead, Kaylee.
All right.
Bust a rhyme for
That
us.
makes you laugh, but my jokes don't.
Yeah, let me pull
into
this
the
away.
stage.
Let me pull
What
it.
kind of that is so rude.
I'm just funny.
Well, son.
Funny looking.
Yeah, I know. All right.
I
You
could
ready?
say something, but it may not be.
Huh? Say that again one more
So
time.
why do you
'cause I
bring
can't
it
hear
up? Go ahead, Kaylee. Stage is yours, dude.
you. All right.
All right.
Hold on, I gotta make sure I say it right. What do you call it when Batman skips church?
She likes what do you call it jokes, you know that? Let's see. When Batman himself skips church. I didn't even know Batman went to church, to be honest with you. You got any ideas? Don't think too hard now.
Yeah, don't think too hard.
You might bust a blood vessel or something.
No, it's really simple.
Alright, Kaylee.
Batman.
Church. What do you call one of the greatest superheroes, Batman, when he doesn't go to church?
Batman is not the greatest superhero.
We're not bringing this up right now.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale?
Christian Bale.
Yep.
See, I got him to laugh though.
For those of you who don't know, he played Batman.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale is an actor who has played Batman.
Hey, I'm getting better.
It wasn't the worst joke I've ever heard in my life. You saw me.
Should I redo the joke that made you laugh in there?
Sure.
I can't remember what joke was it again.
You know what? Just for you guys, because we like you, we're gonna give you just a little a dessert. Just a little extra, all right? Take it away.
What was it again?
She don't even know her own joke.
No, just kind of remind me.
I don't remember.
Oh, got it.
Oh,
got it.
revelation.
Okay.
All right, get ready. Don't poop.
Okay, yeah. Hold on, I just had it. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, bro.
My brain, I can't. For some reason, I can't hold on to information.
Yeah, you ever seen the science experiment when they plug a potato into a light switch and it like gives a little couple flickers? That's what Kaylee's brain is doing right now.
It's smoking. It's gonna see a smoke in here in a second. There you go. There's your editing. Smoke coming off right here.
That's too much.
Fire.
Go ahead.
You know, dogs can't operate MRI machines. But cats can. It wasn't funnier the second time.
Well, I mean,
funnier the second time.
all of the
Anticipation. It was just too much for you.
No, it wasn't anticipation.
Oh, back up! You're touching up on me. The anticipation was just too great.
Get out of here. There's been
I am getting out of here. It's too hot.
There's been your joke of the week brought to you by Kaylee. I hope that you guys like that. Okay? All right. That's not.
No.
He said no. That's not that kind of show.
Well, there you go, folks.
Yeah,
There's your little palate cleanser. We're going into the theological question. So if your brain is just overstimulated from that joke of the week, take time, pause the video, go have a sit on the couch.
I know you're laughing too much right now.
Calm down a little bit. You know, here's your chance. Let's all take a water break. Unsponsored. I wish we can get a sponsorship, I think. We need more fans, though. We're going to a theological question of the week. All right.
Theological what?
Theological question.
I thought you said West. No,
A theological western of the week. Boy Duke and his dog buddy fell in the well. Alright, that wasn't a western, but what is that, Little House on the Prairie? It's not even. Anyway, the theological question of the week is, was Jesus mentioned in the Old Testament? Now, let me clarify while he's getting himself prepared and ready. When I say mention, I don't exactly mean do they say the name Jesus. I mean his person, his being, his essence. Was it mentioned anywhere in the Old Testament? Was it described? Was he prophesied? Was he, was he there? Okay, that's what I mean. So, Kevin, Mr. Kevin, go ahead and take it away.
Now, I only came up with some scriptures in the Old Testament that goes along with scriptures in the New Testament about prophecy, about Jesus. If you go through the whole, like I said to you earlier, if you go through the whole Old Testament, you'll see the nature of Jesus throughout. So you can find Jesus that way. You can go through that, or you can go through when people, you may have heard people talk about the angel of the Lord. You can go through in possibly the angel of the Lord was Jesus Christ. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. But it's a lot. It's a whole story. So I just went into prophecy of what they had.
Take it away.
So in Isaiah 7:14, it says, therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel, right? So then you go to the New Testament.
Emmanuel, by the way, is translated to God is with us. Just a little tidbit for anybody who might not have known that.
And Matthew 1:23 says, behold, virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is God with us.
Yeah.
This is Isaiah speaking about this. This wasn't around the corner. It was hundreds and hundreds of years before Jesus was born.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Isaiah 9:6-7 says, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. And of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David, and upon his kingdom, in order to order it and to establish it in judgment with justice, and henceforth even forever the seal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. You go to Luke 2:11 says, for unto you is born this day in the city of David, which is Christ the Lord. You get it?
Yeah.
I hope so. Luke 1:32-33. He shall be great, he shall be called the Son of the Highest. The Son of God shall give unto him the throne of his father David, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and his kingdom there shall be no end. You see, when you go back to Isaiah 9:6-7, it says this, for unto us a child is born, unto the Son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, and the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. And of the increase of his government and the peace there shall no end. Isaiah 50:6 says, I give my back to the smiters, and my cheeks to them that plucked off the hair. I hid not my face from shame and spitting. So you go to Matthew 26:67. Then did they spit in his face and buffeted him, and others smote him with the palms of their hands. Isaiah 53:5 says, but he was wounded for our transgressions, and he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. 1 Peter 2. His own self bore his own body on a tree, that we, being dead to sins, shall live unto righteousness, by whose stripes we are healed. For ye were the sheep going astray, but are now returned to the shepherd, the bishop of souls. 1 Peter 3:18 says, for Christ also had once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but quickened by the Spirit.
Okay. Well, Jesus said this in the New Testament, but just hear me out. If you're asking about if Jesus was mentioned in the Old Testament, Jesus himself said that he was in Luke 24 verse 44. Then he said, when I was with you before, I told you that everything written about me in the law of Moses and the prophets and in the Psalms will be fulfilled. So right there, Jesus is saying that, yeah, they wrote about me. They talked about me. Even if you go all the way back to Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, it says, and I will cause hostility between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He will strike your head, and you will strike his heel. Many scholars, theological scholars, and even people who aren't Christian, will say that that specific verse It's talking about Jesus and Satan, right? Jesus will strike your head, but you will strike his heel. That's talking about when Jesus was crucified. That's the devil striking the heel, but Jesus striking the head is when he resurrected and defeated death. All right? Then you can go to 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 12. For when you die and are buried with your ancestors, I will raise up one of your descendants, your own offspring, and I will make his kingdom strong. That is correlated to Matthew chapter 1, verse 1. This is the record of the ancestors of Jesus the Messiah, a descendant of David and of Abraham. Now in 2 Samuel, the verse I read before that, this is God speaking to David, saying that, I'm going to make one of your offsprings, and he's going to have a strong kingdom. Jesus was a descendant of David, and he ultimately became and was the Messiah. You go to Psalms chapter 22, verse 16. My enemies surround me like a pack of dogs. An evil gang closes in on me. They pierced my hands and feet. You go to the New Testament, Mark 15, verse 24. Then the soldiers nailed him to the cross. John 20, verse 25. They told him, we have seen the Lord. But he replied, when they say told him, this is the disciples talking to Thomas. And they told Thomas that we've seen the Lord. Thomas replied, I won't believe it unless I see the nail wounds in his hands. Put my fingers in them and place my hand into the wounds on the side. So you got the Old Testament saying that they surround me, they gang up on me, and they pierce my hands and feet. And the New Testament talks about how Jesus' hands and feet were pierced. All right. You go 2 verses over. Psalm 20, verse 18. They divide my garments among themselves and throw dice for my clothing. That's Psalm. That's the Old Testament. New Testament, Mark 15, verse 24. Then the soldiers nailed him to the cross. They divided his clothes and threw dice to decide who would get each piece. So you got the Old Testament saying they would divide my garments and throw dice for them. In the New Testament, it talks about the soldiers gathering Jesus' garments when he was crucified and throwing dice for him. That right there that's like throwing a ball from one hand to the other. That ball is being interacted with the same person. Throw it back to him.
Zechariah 11 and 12 says, And I said unto them, If ye think good, give me my price, and if not, forbear. So they weighed for my price 30 pieces of silver. You go to Matthew 26 and 15. Says, And said unto them, What will you give me? I will deliver him to you. And they gave him 30 pieces of silver. But see, then you go on to Zechariah 11 and 13. And the Lord said unto me, Cast it unto the potter, a good price that I was praised at of them. And I took the 30 pieces of silver and cast them to the potter in the house of the Lord. Okay, so you go to Matthew 27 and 3 to 10 says, Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself and brought again 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, I have sinned in that I have betrayed innocent blood. And they said, What is that to us? See thou to that. And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed, and went and hanged himself. And the chief priest took the silver pieces and said, It is not lawful to put them into the treasury, because it is the price of blood. And they took counsel and brought with them the potter's field to to bury strangers in, and therefore that field was called the field of blood. And unto this day then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver and price of him, and that was valued, whom they of the children of Israel did value, and gave them for the potter's field as they lowered upon it. So this prophecy is one of the most eye-opening prophecies to me about Judas and about casting in the potter's field, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord said unto cast it unto the potter, and then they go over here and it talks about the potter's field. That's pretty accurate prophecy there. What do you say?
Yeah. Well, I got one from Zechariah. It's not any that you got, I don't think. Zechariah chapter 9, verses 9 says, Rejoice, O people of Zion, shout in triumph, O people of Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming to you. He is righteous and victorious, yet he is humble, riding on a donkey's coat. You jump all the way to John chapter 12, verse 14. It says, Jesus found a young donkey and rode on it, fulfilling the prophecy that said, Don't be afraid, people of Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming, riding on a donkey's coat. So you go back to Zechariah, that's talking about Jesus riding in, humbling himself on a donkey. That verse is about Jesus, all the way in the Old Testament, way before Jesus was there. And then you got John describing how Jesus was riding in town on a donkey, fulfilling that prophecy. So that's talking about Jesus, mentioning him in the Old Testament.
I got it.
You gotta
But
stop.
it was like stop what, mama?
Yeah. You'll talk and then
rapper.
and then you'll get down like this and yeah.
Sound
And
like
you
that.
get real gravelly and like it's hard to. I can barely understand you, so I know
I'm
it's.
digging myself up.
You're what?
Yeah, man.
I don't know what you just said.
I'm a mama rapper, son.
Yeah, you want to get popular. You want to get
It's
views.
just some things prophecy was in the Old Testament, then you read the New Testament, they go together. These right here happens 400-500 years. This Micah and all this.
Some of these things are
happened.
thousands.
This one, like right here in Micah, it's happened. I think it's around 500
See,
years.
you're doing it right now.
It was around 400 or 500 years. I don't know why I do that.
I don't know, but you got to be conscious, Mister.
It might be the hand sanitizer.
You using it?
I'm going into a coma. I had to shake myself out of it.
You see how we wrapped it all together? No.
You know, people joke at me before. Like when they say I talk, they tell me
You do that, bro. It's like Sylvester Stallone if he was 80. But hey, look. There are dozens and dozens and dozens more, but for the sake of time, like we don't want to make this an hour and 30-minute long episode that nobody's gonna want to watch. But this is just a couple. I mean, even from the ones that we have on here, you can see. Yeah, it's plain as day to me that you can see that the Old Testament talks about the Jesus of the New Testament, because the Jesus of the New Testament was the Jesus of the Old Testament. It just doesn't say the name Jesus, but it talks about the same guy. I wish I could have found it, but there was one verse that I read while I was reading my Bible, and I said, Kaylee, read this verse, and she read it, and it was word for word almost exactly what they did to Jesus as they crucified him. And I'm like, dude, this, I think it was in Psalms, but I can't remember. This is exactly describing what happens to Jesus in the New Testament. It kind of blew my mind.
You remember, could this possibly be? I don't know. I was just thinking about it. You remember when God was creating man and he said, let us create him in our image. All right, you know, how Jesus, God has always been.
Mm-hmm.
The Holy Spirit has always been. Jesus has always been. Could it be that God was speaking to,
Yes.
when he said, create them in our image, was he talking to him, like him, Holy Spirit, and God? Jesus?
You've never thought about that before?
No, I'm saying I want to bring that up right now because some people, what I'm saying is some people might not ever seen it that way, but I was thinking about that.
That is a verse that is used a lot in the Trinitarian question. Ooh, we should do that. We should do the Trinity as a theological question. But just to bring up specifically what he said, when you're talking about Genesis, and God says, "Let us create man in our image," it talks about, they use the word Elohim, and that's a plural word in Hebrew. So it's basically like the powerful ones. That's what it says. So some people try to say that means that there are multiple gods and stuff, but no. That is, when they use that word, they're talking about God, but God in the sense is three who's that make up one what. So it's a one singular thing made up by three personal beings. You got the Holy Spirit, Jesus, and God, with God being the Godhead. And okay, this might get confusing, but this is how it goes. God is not Jesus. Jesus is not God. And Jesus is not the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is not God. But all three of those make up God. So that's what it is the Trinitarian view. But all of them together is God. So let me explain it to you the way I explained it to Kaylee, and it made sense. So take an egg. You have an egg in front of you. An egg is made up of three basic parts: the shell, the yolk, and the whites. If you take away one of any of those, it is no longer a functional egg. If you take away the yolk, then there's nothing gonna be fertilized by the egg. If you take away the whites, or if you take away the shell, you no longer have an egg. You need all three. It's the same thing with God. You need all three beings. You need all three personal beings to make up the one God. So it's a little confusing, but with some study and stuff, it's easier to wrap your head around. So that's yes. Even all the way back in Genesis, when it talks about let us create man in our image, you're already talking about Jesus and the Holy Spirit in like the first couple of sentences of the Bible. So that is correct. Yeah.
Correct.
So
like I said, you can see the nature of Jesus Christ throughout the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's there. Sometimes it's not as easy to pick out as others, because the Old Testament is full of language that's just kind of hard to comprehend, but it's not impossible.
And Adam and Eve were naked, and God took the animal and covered them up. It's kind of like the nature of Jesus. His sacrifice covered us.
There's a lot of symbolism.
That's just one, but there's many throughout the whole Old Testament that.
When Abraham was going to sacrifice his son, and God put a ram in his place, that is a symbolic representation of Jesus being the substitute for us. God put Jesus as a substitute for us in our place, so that way we could draw closer to God. So there's a lot of symbolic meanings. If you hear that popping, there's a bottle in here, and it's kind of warm. So the bottles are, yeah. There's a lot of symbolic meanings. So I think that this is a long podcast. We're already in the 200,000. 2,000. I'm slow. That's about it. I mean, I think over the course of the next couple of episodes, there might be some remodeling, as in like the structure of the show. Feel free to let us know what you like, what you don't like. If there's certain things or certain actions or the way that we go about stuff that you think we should keep, or that you think we should change, let us know. We're here to cater to our audience. That's the point.
So cater to your needs.
Yeah. I mean, only so far now. Only so far. You're not getting pictures of feet or anything crazy. But, like, you know, maybe what we talk about or how we set the show up or whatever. So, also...
Get it? It's to cater to your needs.
Oh, that's what you said? Cicada to your needs? I didn't. I just heard cater. Well, that thing, that might have been funnier than Kayla's joke of the week. Don't come at me. But I want to introduce other aspects of the show. Like, not in the show, but other things that we do. We'll talk about it. It'll get there. You know, we're just starting. We're doing okay. But we hope everybody has a good weekend. Have a good week. A safe work week. And we'll see everybody back here again next week for another stellar show. We'll see. We'll see what we do. What you got?
Well, all I got is cicada you later.
Cicada you later. Boy.